honor to welcome you and to kick off this incredible event. I first got to meet Senator Sanders last December when I had the opportunity to take a group of campfire survivors to Washington, D.C. And we spent a couple days sharing with elected officials our experiences from November 8th and asking them for support, right? Asking them for recovery support for our communities. We talked about effective forest management. We talked about fire-resilient communities. We talked about smarter disaster planning. And we got to share that climate change has contributed to a new wildfire reality in California. That warmer temperatures and earlier snowmelt leads to longer and more intense dry seasons, and that leaves our forests and our communities more susceptible to devastating megafires. Folks, Senator Sanders heard firsthand from courageous fire survivors that you will see on this panel later. Nurses who saved lives and individuals who fled the flames on foot. And that day he promised to come to Butte County and to see it with his own eyes. And folks, today Senator Sanders made good on that promise. I do not need to tell the people in this room, but today our county is still struggling to recover. And our region desperately needs policies to make our rural and our forested communities more fire resilient. Folks, we need a plan. We need a plan to make sure that the magnifying effects of climate change no longer contribute to events like we led through last November. Folks, I am thrilled. I am thrilled that Senator Sanders is here in Butte County, California today to share with us his thoughts on these complex topics, right? And then on the stage, let's give a rowdy North State welcome to Shelley Jackson, the Deputy Campaign Manager for California.
All right, how's everybody doing today? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. How's everybody doing today?
And that means, among many other things, that we will end all of the ways that taxpayers currently subsidize and support the fossil fuel industry. The United States today, direct and indirect subsidies for coal, oil, and gas reached $649 billion in 2015. Got that? Those are the kinds of subsidies that the fossil fuel industry received, and those are the kinds of subsidies and tax breaks that I intend to end as President of the United States. We are also going to support efforts to divest pension funds and universities from fossil fuel holdings. And I want to congratulate many young people on campuses all over this country who are in the process of doing that. Instead of having our money at international financial agencies support fossil fuels, we're going to create a green climate fund to help the developing world lower their carbon pollution, because this is an international crisis. We will immediately end all new and existing fossil fuel extraction on federal public lands. We will ban fracking and mountaintop removal. Instead of bragging about being the world's largest oil producer, we are going to be leading the world in sustainable energy. let me tell you something else. And this, again, is kind of radical, but I think we have got to think of these things. We're in, and I mean that very seriously, that in this moment of global crisis, we have got to rethink the way we have looked at the world. That's where we're at. We are finally going to end the fossil fuel industry's legal immunity. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? And this is an important issue. Look, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody in this room has made a mistake. Every doctor has made a mistake. Every engineer, even politicians occasionally make mistakes. But what we have got to look at is if somebody produces a product and it turns out to be a harmful product, and they say, oh my God, we didn't know that. That is one thing, and that happens all of the time. But when somebody produces a product which they knowingly understand to be harmful, that is a different situation. Today, just 100 companies have been the source of more than 70% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions in the last 3 decades. 100 companies. They have been permitted to walk away from their toxic spills, their abandoned wells, and other environmental disasters. Documents have emerged, as many of you know, in court cases that show that the top fossil fuel executives have known for decades that their products were destroying the planet, and they buried those documents in order to continue making as much money as possible.